Hey, everybody. I kind of felt led to come on and share something about shame. If you feel shame over your past, don't let that define your future. So I know that for me, um, for the longest time, I didn't want to tell people about my past, about my history, because I felt like, especially when it came to relationships, that I was like a complete failure. And it started when I was 16. I was in a very bad place. There were addiction issues with one of my siblings, and it had caused really my parents' focus had to be on my sibling, but that had created some issues within me about, my value and not really having my needs met because it just couldn't be a priority at that time. And I was very capable and very independent, and I really feel that my parents just believed that I was fine because I was so capable. um, but anyway, I ended up meeting my would-be first husband when I was 16 and in a very bad emotional place. And as you know, we attract what we are. And I had just self-worth issues because of all of the things that had happened in the family and that feeling of just kind of being forgotten, like I didn't matter. And so when I got attention from someone, I didn't want to let go of that. And even though deep down I knew that this was not a good, healthy situation, I still stuck with it. Well, long story short, very long story short, uh, turned out to be a very abusive, physically, emotionally, mentally abusive situation involving domestic violence charges and restraining orders. And I got out of that situation, and I had struggled so much just to finally get out of that dangerous situation. And it had lingered on, like he had threatened my family, he threatened to hurt me, threatened to hurt my son, which was also his son, but anything to keep me under his control. And it made me angry that it had taken me that long to move to a better place. So I became a police officer to help other women in that situation. Like that was my drive to become a police officer. I ended up meeting a very, very strong female officer in the course of all that mess, and she was someone I really looked up to. She became one of my very close friends. We ended up working together. And Heather, if you ever see this, you're awesome. You're awesome, chica. But the sad thing was, as much as I was respected for my courage as a police officer, I ended up getting into another really destructive relationship. And it was embarrassing to me even at the time that my personal life and my professional life didn't reflect the same person. And, I had all of this drive to protect other people, and yet I still wasn't making good choices for myself. So I went from basically a narcissistic sociopath to a narcissist with sociopathic tendencies who was a compulsive liar. Not a good move. One bonus, though, I did step up that he was not physically abusive, so there was that plus. Mhm. But I hadn't healed what was damaged inside me, and I didn't realize at the time. So many of us don't. We feel shame because we feel like we just don't make good decisions, or that we deserve to be treated the way we were treated. That there must be something wrong with us to keep having this happen in our lives. And in reality, 95% of our actions are controlled by the subconscious mind. And you're not intentionally making poor choices. And not only that, when you are a very loving, very giving, empathetic person, you tend to attract narcissistic, yucky people into your life. if you haven't healed your own internal wounds. So, fortunately, um, I didn't let that one go as long. But at the end of that relationship, I was absolutely devastated. I was only 28 years old when the divorce was final. And I thought, my God, I'm 28. I've been divorced twice. Both have been horrible relationships where, lying, cheating, it's just ridiculous. And I thought, why? Why would I let myself be treated this way? So I took a year and I thought, oh, I'm good now. No. Instead, this time I got a covert narcissist. So it took me a lot longer to figure it out. By the time I did, it was another infidelity. He had an affair, ended up really putting me in a bad place financially, emotionally, and eventually physically as I lost my health as well. I was so ashamed at this point that I stayed in that relationship 6 more years. But I had done such a disservice to myself that over that 6 year period, I lost my health. And because of the shame, I didn't tell anyone what was happening. And I had to make some very difficult decisions around the time of the affair. And I was very broken, and I didn't tell the people closest to me what was going on. But the decisions that I had to make upset them, and I would not offer an explanation, so they all turned away from me as well. So, in the very lowest point of my life, everyone was gone. Everyone but the jerk who cheated on me, he was still there. And that was my fault. So, what I'm getting at is that until we are willing to recognize that the things that we're ashamed of, we really need to offer ourselves forgiveness. And don't be afraid to speak out on the things that you may have really felt like diminished your value or made you feel like there must be something wrong with you. Because it's just unhealed wounds from our childhood. It's unhealed wounds from our past that make us believe that we're not worthy of good treatment, especially when you have repeating patterns in your life. But what we don't know until we know, and now I know, which is why I'm telling you, because this stuff is valuable. Our subconscious mind is programmed in the first 7 years of our lives. We don't even realize that most of our behavior, 95% of our behavior, comes from these belief systems that are imprinted in our brain before we even know what's happening. And so we operate out of this part of our brain for the rest of our lives unless we become aware. And the repeating patterns, it's all those belief patterns, those old the thoughts, the beliefs, the things that are coming out of your subconscious mind cause you to recreate the same thing, the same thing, the same thing. And now that I'm aware of that, because through that 6 year period, um, I finally reached a point where I got pissed. And if you've been in a situation where you've been depressed and you kind of slip into that victim mentality, getting pissed off is one of the best things you can do because that can be empowering. And if you use that anger to fuel your healing, you can make a lot of progress real fast. So when I made the decision that I was done, that dude was going to be on his own, I'm out. Because as I started to heal, I began to realize that, you know what? I bring a lot to the table. You know, even in that situation, I was the primary breadwinner. I supported the family. I took care of everything around the house, remodeled the house while I was doing like 80-hour work weeks. And, you know, I thought, who in the hell wouldn't want me as a partner? And why would I treat myself so shitty after I know that I've put so much energy into building a good life for myself? Why am I going to let someone else tear that down? So out of this anger, I ended up basically going into absolute hermit mode because when you are in a place where you've been damaged, it's really important to distance yourself just for a while, just to get strong in yourself again and start to heal. Because once you start to heal, you start to recognize that the things that happened, you know, it's not necessarily that there's something wrong with you. There's something broken inside of you that's attracting these things into your life. So I got my coaching certification. I studied the Tony Robbins life coaching school. So I learned a lot through that. And then I studied neurolinguistic programming. I actually went back to college for psychology and I studied forensic psychology, which sadly enough kind of explained my dating life. And if you're relating to any of this, please leave a comment below because so many of us don't understand why we keep putting ourselves in bad situations. And it's only because we don't understand the subconscious mind. And I've come up with a 12-week coaching course that goes through all of the information that I obtained. And there is a lot in this program. It's basically 10 years of research that I used for my own healing that I put into this 12-week program. And at the end of the 12 weeks, you won't be completely healed. That's not the point of it because you never finish. When you start to grow and expand and heal, you never finish the process. You just keep getting better and better and better. And it's amazing because what had happened to me was by the third relationship, I was like, you know what? I looked around and I'm like, everybody else seems to be fairly miserable too. This must just be the way it is. You know, I can either keep jumping from asshole to asshole or I can just try and make this work and make the best of it. How sad is that? Like looking back now, I'm like, who was she? But that was the damaged me trying to make sense of what had happened. Now, having gone through all of these, learning these techniques and learning all of the subconscious mind and how to reprogram the thoughts and the beliefs and really get to a place of empowerment, I can tell you there is hope. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing broken about you, and you absolutely deserve good treatment. Shame keeps you from sharing your story. It keeps you from getting the support that you really need and deserve. Because rather than be ashamed, be proud of yourself. You're a survivor. And if anybody wants to judge what's happened to you, go ahead and let them. It wasn't their life. They didn't live it, and they don't know what you went through. But at the end of the day, be proud of the strength that you've shown because you're here. You're still here. And because of that, every moment that you draw a breath, you have the ability to make different decisions. You have the ability to make new choices. The reality that you see around you right now, if you're not happy with it, know that that was created from the old beliefs, the old thought patterns, and those can be changed. And having come through that process myself, I can assure you, life was meant to be joyful. Life was meant to be fun, to be rewarding, to have passion, excitement, growth, adventure. There is beautiful life available to us. We just have to get past the old damage that keeps us in repeating cycles, that keeps us wondering, frustrated, why does this keep happening? And when you find out how different woundings drive your behavior, it starts to make sense. And it's very empowering because you realize that, wow, I did those things because of this. And I was trying to heal this wound, but you're coming at it from an angle that doesn't make any sense. But again, it's subconscious. So once you get your conscious mind involved and we start working on all of this baggage from the past and these things that you didn't even realize were driving your behavior, some of them happened when you were an infant. You know, it can create different attachment styles from how you were treated in infancy. And you have no recollection of that, but it drives your behavior. And when you go in and you start relearning and reprogramming, you can come from this place of actively, consciously creating and designing the life you want. And the empowerment that you get from realizing what drove your behavior really gives you that much more drive, and that knowing that you are a survivor and you're a very powerful human being, and that you are capable of having everything you want. Whatever you want to do, be, and have in this life is available to you. So if you've been living in shame, don't let that have control over you anymore. Be proud. Take back control of your life and know that whatever's created your reality up till now, that was subconscious, acting out of a place of wounds. And the fact that you're still here, that's something to be proud of. And again, we have the opportunity to heal, to make new decisions, and completely recreate our lives. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that was helpful. Don't let shame hold you back. Don't let shame keep you from sharing your story. Shame keeps us separated. And so many of us have had the same challenges, the same struggles. And the more we're able to speak out and share what we've been through, what we've experienced, the more we're able to help and support each other in making a difference and coming back stronger. So thank you for your likes and subscribes. I'm again so grateful for all of you, and thank you for your patience as this channel as this channel evolved. I was terrified when I started this channel even to show my face on camera, and that was part of my healing journey, like the final step in being able to really step into my purpose and let go of that feeling of shame so that I could actually help people. So thank you again. I will talk to you soon. Love and light.